Hello, Sunshine, and welcome to a special edition of the State of the Union podcast. We have ourselves another interview with another interesting guest, the great David Ochoa from Real Salt Lake, the starting goalkeeper, and for my money, one of the stars of the league in the way that he plays in goal, but also his incredible personality. He has been a U.S. youth national teamer. He has played with the United States Olympic qualifying team. And then he made his one-time switch to represent Mexico. And we're going to talk with him about that. So welcome into the State of the Union. David, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Well, you look glorious. For people that are listening, you can't see it, but there's this incredibly statuesque and gigantic video board that we have him up there, like this Rushmore effect. Your hair looks great. Your facial hair looks wonderful. Now, you have been injured at the beginning of this season. First and foremost, how is your body, and when can we expect to see you back on the soccer field?
Yeah, no, my body's getting one day better. I'm feeling stronger every day, and hopefully I could start training in a week or two, and then get back on the pitch whenever Pablo thinks it's right. So it's getting close.
All right, what do you attribute the fast start and the successful start of your RSL team this year? It's wonderful to see. Obviously, full-time coach now, Pablo Mastroianni, and everything that's going on there. I know you're on the outside kind of looking at it here, but maybe that gives you an interesting vantage point. So what do you think's happening over there? What's in the water?
No, I mean, I think the locker room is just really good right now. We're coming from a really good season last year. We proved a lot of people wrong. They didn't have us going as far as we did. So this year we're all just really listening to Pablo. We all trust him. We all love playing for him, and I think that's kind of the factor right now. The locker room's good. Everyone's happy, and everyone's happy to play for Pablo.
David, Zach McMath has played pretty well in your absence so far this season. Are you concerned when you get back out there whether you're going to have that starting job waiting for you, or is it going to be a competition? Have they talked to you about what it's going to be like when you're available again?
No, they haven't talked to me about that. He is doing really well. We have a good relationship, so he's played a big part in my debut year, I guess you can say, last year. He was a kind of that mentor, that veteran that would give me tips and stuff. But the way I see it myself is the only competition is myself. I know the qualities that I have. I know how good I am. I know the potential that I have, how good I can be in a couple of years. And the only competition right now that I have is myself. But no, for sure, Zach is definitely doing good. And, if I have to, I guess, wait because he's helping the team win games, then I'll wait. I think my time will come whenever God wants it to come.
I maintain that sports in general, and certainly Major League Soccer, we don't do enough to encourage personality. And that's one of the reasons why I love watching you. I think that you are a perfect villain. And you even have admitted yourself that is something that you kind of enjoy. Where does this personality and this character and this willingness to play the villain, where does this come from? Were you raised to look at sports much more as entertainment and yourself much more as an entertainer?
No, I feel like I just love the game so much, and I love winning, and with that, I guess my personality just comes out a little bit. I hate losing, and I get frustrated when I lose. So I win. So when I win, I like to kind of celebrate it in my unique way, I guess you can say. And yeah, to a lot of people, it might come out as cocky, but to me, it's just the confidence that I have and the winning mentality that I have.
Do you get off though when you get that interaction and when you poke somebody in essence and you elicit a reaction out there from a fan base, whether it's a good save or whether it's in front of an away crowd and stuffing it back in their face in essence?
No, I mean I love that. I like for example the game in Seattle. The whole 90 minutes, the fans would boo me. Every time I touched the ball, and something in me knew that that was honestly just gonna come out on top and win and that I was gonna have a great game. So I kind of just focused on myself, kind of try to cancel out that noise, and then once that opportunity rose where I saved the PK and that was one of the big factors why we won, I would say. I made sure to clap back a little bit and have some of my fun because they were having fun booing me, so it was my turn to have fun.
You mentioned that Seattle game. We know you've done so well under Pablo Mastroeni, but how strange was that Freddie Juarez situation? What was your reaction to finding out that your coach was leaving to be an assistant with another team? And did that make that win in Seattle even sweeter?
Yeah. You know what? Me and Freddie have a great relationship. So, if anything, it kind of affected me a little bit, him leaving. I wanted him to stay, obviously. But no, I mean, last year in general was just such a weird year for us. Not having an owner and then to mess it up a little more with Freddie leaving halfway through the year. It sucked for me. I felt like I had a good relationship with him. So I mean, maybe some of the other guys could have a different opinion, and maybe they enjoyed beating him. But for me, it was more like he was one of my mentors and one of the guys who believed in me from the start. So it was tough to see him go.
Let's transition a little bit to the international game and in Mexico in particular. I'm always fascinated, and we deal with this now on a seemingly consistent basis, where players have options and the thought process that goes into ultimately deciding where you want to play. Can you take us back and get us into your mind a little bit about why you felt that this was the choice that you wanted to make?
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a tough choice. Even a year before, I would say maybe in a year and a half before I made the decision. Both teams were already talking to me. I had the Mexican Federation already talking to me a year and a half beforehand, and I was already thinking of it. I knew that the time was my time was kind of running out, and that I would have to make a decision. So I made sure to kind of take my time through that whole process and talk things through, and with my family most importantly, and also with myself where I felt more comfortable, or to better say what country I felt more comfortable representing, and ultimately at the end of the day it was Mexico, but it definitely was not an easy choice. I had a lot of good friendships throughout the whole US youth national teams, and I guess it's tough to say that I'm not going to be able to play with them again. That's life, and I had to make a grown up decision, and for me the best decision for me was to represent Mexico and represent my blood and all my family and my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, who come from out there and sacrificed a lot for me and my cousins to just live here and live a better life. So I kind of did it for them.
David, this is probably an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think if the U.S. had qualified to the Olympics, that might have changed your decision? If you had that competition to look forward to with the U.S., might that have changed your whole timetable and your whole perspective on it, perhaps?
You know what? Maybe it would have, just because I would think I had a good qualifying tournament, and if we would have qualified, I felt like I would have had an even better Olympics if I was even the guy to play. But I mean, I thought of it, maybe say they gave me the nod and I was a starting goalkeeper at the Olympics, and they really started to see what I could do and see my potential and see how just passionate I am about the game. Then maybe they would have paid attention to me more and given me more opportunities. But at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason, and now I'm happy to represent Mexico and, like I said, represent my family.
All right, so you're representing Mexico, but obviously you won't be involved in the game this week. So let's turn it to this incredible matchup that we see this week. Do you think, because keep in mind, the U.S. has beaten Mexico 3 times over the last year. They're going for 4. Do you think that Greg Berhalter and this U.S. team has the ability to go into the Azteca and to get a 4th win?
I don't think so. I don't think they will. It's gonna be a tough game for them. With the altitude and the country, and I would say Mexico does good at this decade. So I don't think they'll come out on top. But I mean, you never know. Like they've gotten some good results against Mexico, so they could surprise me. But for now, I'm 99% sure that Mexico takes the win.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Assuming Mexico clinches a berth during this window, which I think they will, I assume your goal is then to get your way to Qatar. What's your sense right now of where you are in the pecking order? Have you spoken to Tata at all? What do you think are your chances of ending up in that Mexico World Cup squad if they qualify?
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, they talk to me, and they right now with my injury, they reach out to me every week to see how I'm progressing. They believe in me, and of course I definitely want to be in Qatar. So right now, I mean, I'm not really, like I told you, I'm competing with myself. I'm just making sure that I come back 100%, and then give myself a good opportunity to make that World Cup. I do think that I'm capable of it. I do think that I'm ready for it as well. But I mean, we'll see. It's all in God's hands now. So hopefully I'm there.
Couple more questions and then we'll let you go. I want to circle back to your decision. If you were giving advice to the United States Soccer Federation in terms of how to go about, I mean, let's be honest, it's a recruiting process, if you will. What would be some of the things that you think are important when you sit down with someone like you and that player's parents and talk about why they should play for, in this case, we're talking about the U.S. or Mexico for that matter? What do you think is important in those moments?
No, I mean, I think it's more just opportunities. I felt that I wasn't getting as much opportunities as I deserved. I saw my quality, and I saw how good I was and how good I can be, which is most importantly. So I would just say it's just opportunities. If you really believe in that certain player, and if you really want him to represent the U.S., then show him and give him opportunities. As we saw with Pepe, no one really thought that he would break through the way he did, and he just needed that one opportunity, and he took advantage of it. And I would say he's a good. He's going to be a good player for them in the future. I saw what he can do in the U teams, and now for him to do it in the big stage, it makes me happy for him, just because I know him personally. But I mean, like I said, it's just the opportunities. If you really believe in him, give him the opportunities.
In terms of the dynamic between MLS and Liga MX, it's interesting because at the international level, you're now on Mexico's side, but at club level, you're on the MLS side of that debate. We're in the middle of another CCL campaign. A lot of conversation about, has MLS caught up or perhaps even surpassed Liga MX? What do your Mexican friends say about MLS? What do you think is the perception of MLS in Mexico right now?
No, I mean, they definitely think that it's a good league. Some would say it's better than Mexico. Maybe not because of the quality. I would still say the quality is better in Mexico, but more for how it's set up here in MLS, and more the country that it is, how safe it is, how safe it could be for the children, as we saw with Hector Herrera. I got to talk to him a little bit when I spent a week with him, and I mean he was saying that he's saying he wants a good life for his children and a safe one. So I think that's what players think. And for me personally, I mean, I would love to stay in MLS. All my family's here in the US, and I would love to play and kind of be that Mexican role model, I guess you could say, in the league, just to help kids like me who are of Mexican descent but born here in the US, because there's a lot of us. And even for example, that tournament that's coming up next year, like I'm super excited. I grew up watching the Mexican League, and I can't wait to get in those games and just kind of live my dream a little bit. So
All right, well, let's finish it off here with some history, and I'm going to put you on the spot here because, who knows, maybe in the future we're going to see you in the goal for El Tri here. But if you have to pick, you can only pick one, Memo Ochoa or Jorge Campos?
Memo Ochoa.
And why is that?
I was too young when Jorge Campos was playing, but I think my dad would say otherwise. I think my dad would choose Jorge Campos.
My friend, knowing you and watching you and hearing you, I actually think when it comes to personality-wise, you would have loved to hang out with Jorge Campos. Wonderful goalkeeper, man. Wonderful personality too.
He gave me a call the other day.
Did he really?
He was an outstanding person. He was very outgoing, and it was a great conversation. We spoke for like 30 minutes, just having laughs and all that stuff. So he's a great guy. It sucks that I wasn't able to see him play. But my dad always tells me all the stories and how good he was. So it was good to finally meet him.
Well, we are very fortunate to see you play, and you make our job over here at Fox and in television so much easier because of the great personality and the great talent that you are. And we're wishing you all the luck going forward, whether it's with RSL and the team's already, like you said, off to a great start, and then hopefully we'll see you with El Tri. David, thank you so much for coming on the State of the Union.
Yep, thank you guys for having me.
All right, the great David Ochoa on a special edition of the State of the Union podcast.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.